Hello, and welcome to the first ever episode of a new video series entitled See You at the Symphony. My name is Stephanie Everett, and I'm the principal second violinist with the Altoona Symphony Orchestra. This new video series is intended to share a little bit about each of the concerts coming up in our 95th season with the Altoona Symphony. Quite an accomplishment for a local symphony orchestra. In this week's episode, we'll be talking about the works that will be featured on the September 30th, 2023 concert at 7:30 at the Mishler Theater in Altoona, Pennsylvania. And I'm very excited to share with you a little bit about each of these works. Our overarching theme for this concert, to me, is about melody. Have you ever heard a melody that just really stuck with you? And no matter where you were when you heard that melody, it brought something back to mind, something that just jogged a little memory. All of the pieces that we're going to be playing on this week's concert really have a connection to that melody. Between the festive overture, Shostakovich's piece with just a celebration of melody. Of course, the Firebird that tells a story with the melodies, and each of the melodies is attached to a character. The incomparable Dave Villani and his heritage fanfare. It's going to have an incredible tie to melody as well. And then we're going to finish with Rachmaninoff's Piano Concerto No. 2, which is really well known for its enchanting melodies. In fact, that's the piece that really makes me think back, even when I was a student or a young person listening to the Rachmaninoff Piano Concerto. I'll never forget those melodies. Saturday's concert will begin with Festive Overture, an orchestral work written by Dmitri Shostakovich in 1954. It was commissioned for the Bolshoi Theater's celebration of the 37th anniversary of the October Revolution. The piece was actually written in only 3 days and was inspired when conductor Vasily Nibolsin came to Shostakovich and asked him to compose a celebratory piece. It premiered on November 6 in 1954 at the Bolshoi Theater. The work opens with a brass fanfare that comes back before the end of the piece, but the vivacious and infectious melody that ensues is not only fun to play, but it just conveys a celebratory start for the listener as the ASO begins our 95th season. Shostakovich himself described the festive overture as, quote, just a short work, festive or celebrative in spirit. The Firebird is a ballet and later an orchestral concert work by the Russian composer Igor Stravinsky. It was written for the 1910 Paris season of Sergei Diaghilev's Ballet Russe company. The original choreography was by Michael Fokine, who collaborated with Alexander Benoit and others on a scenario based on the Russian fairy tales of the Firebird and the blessing and curse it possesses for its owner. In order to understand a little bit more about the Firebird Suite, it really helps to understand about some of the characters and the plots in the Firebird Ballet. Now, there are 3 main characters in the Firebird. Prince Ivan, who is the protagonist of the story and is often the protagonist in many pieces of Russian folklore. His nemesis, who is the evil Koshai. Koshai is so evil, he is known for turning his enemies into stone statues. And of course, the Firebird, the mythological, burning, glowing bird who can bring good and bad to his captor. The ballet opens up in Koshai's garden, where the evil Koshai has been turning his enemies into stone statues, and Prince Ivan has been chasing the Firebird, whom he captures, and he takes a feather from the bird. Later in this story, 13 princesses enter the garden, all of whom are trapped by the evil Koshai, and Prince Ivan falls in love with one of them. They perform a short dance. When the princesses are called back into Koshai's palace, Ivan tries to follow, but he's stopped by Koshai at the gates. Before the evil king turns Prince Ivan into stone, the prince summons the Firebird with the feather, and she makes Koshai and his subjects do an infernal dance. After they fall asleep from exhaustion, Ivan is instructed to steal the egg that holds Koshai's soul, and he destroys it, killing Koshai and freeing all of the king's subjects. The ballet ends with grand rejoicing among the free subjects. One of the hallmarks that Stravinsky used in his writing for the Firebird Suite was a system of leitmotifs, or short recurring phrases, that were associated with a certain character or person in the story. But he placed those leitmotifs in the harmony. He dubbed it light harmony to distinguish mortal versus supernatural beings. The composer made a point to use many unique effects in the orchestra, including ponticello, col legno, flautando, glissando, and a whole lot of pizzicato, as I'm finding out in the violin section. Stravinsky later composed 3 concert suites, one in 1911, ending with the Infernal Dance, and one in 1919, which remains the most popular today and will be the version that we are playing here at the Symphony. Stravinsky did one more version of the suite in 1945, where he reorchestrated much of the work and changed the structure. Our final selection for this Saturday's performance with the Altoona Symphony Orchestra is, of course, Rachmaninoff's Piano Concerto No. 2, featuring world-class piano soloist Zuzanna Mizmanishvili. Ms. Mizmanishvili is from Germany and has performed all around the world, and actually started her career performing with the Altoona Symphony Orchestra. We're very excited to welcome her back. The Piano Concerto No. 2 in C minor, Opus 18, is a concerto for piano and orchestra composed by Sergei Rachmaninoff between June 1900 and April 1901. The piece established his fame as a concerto composer and is one of his most enduringly popular pieces. At the time that Rachmaninoff composed the concerto, he had been battling a depressive time in his life that was brought on by the failure of his first symphony, which he premiered in 1897. He completed the second and third movements first and premiered them on December 15, 1900. The first movement was then finished in 1901, and the entire work was met with great success. I'm sure you can imagine that with such an impressive concerto, a lot of people wanted to use the melodies for their artistic works as well, including many movies. Music from the piano concerto was used in A September Affair, 1950, Rhapsody in 1954, of course, The 7-Year Itch in 1955 borrowed some themes from the concerto, and many others as well. It even inspired some popular songs, the most famous being Eric Carmen's 1975 ballad, All by Myself, which is inspired by the second movement.
This is Nick Palmer, conductor of your Altoona Symphony Orchestra, presenting our 95th season. Opening night is coming up Saturday at 7:30 at the Mishler Theater, one of the most beautiful places anywhere to hear a concert. And we're going to start it off in style with a festive overture of Dmitri Shostakovich, exciting, rhythmic, dynamic, featuring members of the Altoona Brass Collective. Then the Firebird Suite of Igor Stravinsky, one of the most enchanting, rhythmic, and revolutionary pieces of music ever written. It brought the 20th century into this new style of modernism. Then Dave Villani, Dr. Dave Villani's new fanfare, the Heritage Fanfare, written especially for the 95th season opener of the Altoona Symphony. Dr. Villani is an esteemed music educator and composer who's had a long association with our symphony orchestra. And we are concluding with the Rachmaninoff Second Concerto, featuring the amazing European pianist Zuzanna Mizmanishvili, who will be playing on the beautiful Steinway in the Mishler Theater. She first appeared with us when she was a teenager and attending the Greer School, and has since gone on to fame worldwide. We are welcoming her back with open arms to open the 95th season. Tickets are available at the Mishler box office from 10 to 4, Monday through Friday. We look forward to seeing you at the Symphony.
I want to remind you that you can still get tickets to this Saturday's concert by contacting the Mishler box office at 814-944-9434, or you can also visit the Altoona Symphony Orchestra's website and click on a link that takes you right to the Mishler's box office there. I want to thank you for joining me on this journey exploring the amazing music that we'll be performing this Saturday, September 30th at 7:30 at the Mishler Theater with the Altoona Symphony Orchestra. From everyone at the Altoona Symphony Orchestra, I'm Stephanie Everett, and we'll see you at the Symphony.